Today is Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 41, Week 11.
This episode's titled Do or Die. And I'm just going to give that to Probst.
Yeah, that was said by a lot of people. Huh?
Yeah, he said it first, so there we go. It's Viakana back at camp after that tribal where Shan's voted out, night 19. No. Deshawn says, Liana, I'm sorry. And Danny added, let me know if you want to chop it up. I like that. That's a great way to describe the discussion.
Yeah, pretty much.
And she immediately responded, let's go. Because she had some talking she wanted to do.
Yep, and it's all about, hey, where's the trust? You completely shut. We talk about trust, the four of us to the end, and then I don't know anything that's happening.
I get blindsided by the Shan vote out.
That's right. I'm left out of the vote. And the guys said, well, they turned on us. We had to.
Yeah, it was the other folks that made
us. We
the
had to
call.
do it.
Yeah. What I think they really missed the opportunity to point out was that she triggered it all. She
Shan
told
did.
Shan when they asked her not to.
Oh, Liana triggered it all.
Yes.
Oh, okay. By telling Shan.
Yes. And she caused that all to happen. I wish Deshawn or Danny, it would have been even stronger if it had come from Danny in that calm, quiet voice. If he would have said, you got her voted out. You made the choice to go tell Shan.
You kind of don't want to do when a woman is upset.
Yeah,
and
but
especially a young woman who doesn't
she's doing
have a lot
hitting
of
her hand with
control
every
over-
syllable as she enunciates.
Again, to my point, I'm not sure that is the right moment to point out that you're the one that was wrong. You did it.
You actually triggered all of this. You kicked it all off.
No rhyme or reason that could just really set her off to where the conversation is
Could be even worse.
overdone. Yes, way worse.
Yeah.
It definitely could have been.
You're
way
right.
worse.
It's best to manage it and keep
It's
the doors
inflammatory.
to keep the doors open, even if it is true. Meanwhile, back in the hut, Xander's ecstatic. He says, "Did we just move into the top spot?"
Well, for the moment, you did.
So he and Erika and Heather and Ricard have got something going here. They're sticking together.
And he is quick to tell them, we have an extra vote and an idol. We do. So, I thought, well, that's one way to get in control. That's the only thing is I wouldn't want Ricard in there. That would be my only thought. Oh, Xander, come on, really? But he's been on his own for so long now that I'm sure he will take.
This is an oasis
anything.
in a desert of alliances for him.
Yep,
so,
and that's got to feel really good
it
to
seemed
be
like
a
it did.
part of any vote
Yeah,
at this point. So,
yeah, because he
I
hadn't
get
been
where
on the
he's
right
coming
side of the
from.
vote hardly at all.
That's true.
Yeah.
And he hasn't felt a part of anything, any decision, any vote. So I get it.
And he's struggling with being singled out by Shan.
Well, I can't really blame him. It was Ricard's call. And she's like, I'm giving you $1 million, Ricard.
What did you think about Ricard's explanation? Shan and I were equals. We had been discussing the fact that we were going to have to take each other out at some point.
Oh, you mean Ricard's explanation? You said Deshawn.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's why I was confused. Okay, well, yeah. I think he handled it fine. I just think that's so. Once again, we see where Deshawn's passion and he can't let things go right away. He's got a process and a fairly long process of working through something, and usually he really should just not go back to camp that night after any vote.
Yeah, is that
He
it?
should just sleep on the beach all by himself and process quietly to himself. And then, but he needed to justify that.
At the
I
same
know when somebody accuses you and you feel like you didn't deserve that, you really want to explain yourself, and go, but wait a minute. So,
and at the same time, we get that confessional from Ricard where he's tickled. Deshawn's taking the heat for me.
sure. Absolutely.
It's like this worked
Win-win
out great.
for him.
Yes. Congrats on being the top dog, Deshawn tells him.
Okay, so they all kind of let it go that night, but the next day, day 20, Ricard pulls Deshawn aside and said, hey, you really got to chill out. So it sounds like Ricard has not given up the idea of working with them, or at least not burning any bridges.
He's keeping
which
all
he
the doors
shouldn't.
open. Yeah.
I know, and I like that about him. He is keeping those doors open, even though, he doesn't want to work with Deshawn. He's still angry at him for lying, but come on. Everybody, as Shan said, everybody out here's lying.
And it looked like Deshawn definitely had been processing it, because he said, if I had a do-over, I would have come back and I just would have been quiet. I did not manage that
I don't
well.
think he's capable of doing that. In that moment when he has something emotional, he's just very expressive, and that's the way it is. But at least he realizes that he came off very accusatory and that it didn't go over well with the others. And
He didn't get the desired result.
no, but at least he made an effort. He got together with Liana and tried to smooth it over.
Never
and
write your
say,
name down.
We can still work together, Liana.
Don't even tell me how to spell your name, he said.
Yeah.
And Liana tells us in a confessional, Deshawn smashed the beautiful picture of me and Shan together. So therefore, I'm open to revenge.
Okay, that I just kind of went, yeah. I just thought that felt more like a child's response to me. So
Well,
that's
she's still-
showing her age.
She's still working on her emotions.
She's still real young.
Okay, it's day 20 there, and they're cooking up a big pot of rice, and they look pretty happy that they're getting to chow down on all that, except for Danny. And he shares that he's sad because this is the 25th anniversary of his dad passing away. He was in a car accident and died. And Danny shares with us that he was always angry at his dad. But being out there, he couldn't distract himself like he used to do back home, and he had to sit with his feelings and focus on it, and he ends up coming to a different conclusion, a different way of looking at
I
it.
really saw that as a beautiful moment on a very gut level, personal thing for him to experience.
With
which-
everything else going on, this is, on top of everything else,
Yeah.
he's making a pretty significant realization about himself, he says, and he's dropping the shame of being mad at his father and just sitting with that. And so,
Well, and I like it that he tells them, look, if I seem a little off today, it has nothing to do with the game. This is what I'm dealing with. So he bought himself some time that if he's isolating himself or he's doing, people understand what he's doing and they're not getting all paranoid that what's he doing. And I thought that was really kind of smart on his part to just put it out there what I'm
Right.
dealing with, and buys him some time that he obviously needed. Okay, up next, were you surprised the immunity challenge came up so
about
quick?
12 minutes into the episode,
I
yeah.
was like, what, already?
Tell we were on a different schedule again. It's
I
day
thought,
21.
uh-oh.
This is a 2-day cycle again, days 20 and 21.
Jeff tells us there's going to be a twist, a dangerous one.
With a deadly risk if you choose to play. And so I always think of this challenge as Malcolm's kryptonite.
Well, it kind of was.
Because even with a do-over on this challenge, he couldn't figure out how to manage it. He he blows his arms out, pushing
Yeah,
too
'cause
hard.
his-
You see all the veins in his arms and his chest standing out, and
Yeah, because you thought Malcolm. Oh yeah,
he's got
he's
this.
got an extra one. If he drops the ball, he gets
Yeah.
an extra chance. That was his reward that he had won. So you're like, oh yeah,
This
Malcolm's
is
got
season
this in
25,
the bag.
Survivor
No,
Philippines.
he didn't.
Yeah.
And he was still the first one out, wasn't he?
Yes.
Wasn't he the first?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that.
Anyway, that's why I always think of this challenge as Malcolm's kryptonite. I think he faced it a second time too.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't happy to see it either.
Yeah.
Not even from a distance.
Anyway, so they've got these two poles, and you've got a round cylinders that you've got to press these wooden
hold them
cylinder
together.
blocks together, and there's a ball balancing in a little groove on top of the middle one.
And they had different strategies. Sometimes they would hold it, wrapping their hand around the top of the pole.
Overhand
and
versus
sometime
underhand grip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah, I
was
saw
interesting.
Ricard doing that the most. He's the one who stood out to me, but then I saw Danny,
And Danny
adopt
did it.
that in the last round.
Mm-hmm.
He switched up. So the twist being the first person that drops.
If you choose to play
Mm-hmm.
and you drop first, when you get to tribal council, you will have to do a challenge, a do or die challenge, and you are either safe from the vote or you are out, period. No vote.
Yep, and there wouldn't be a tribal council vote in that case. Jeff tells us. So they each draw 2 rocks. The red one says, I'm going to play in the challenge. The gray one says, I'm sitting out, which means they have no shot at winning immunity, but then they don't have to risk the face of the do or die challenge.
What would you have done?
I would have done the challenge.
I would have sat out.
Had faith in myself.
No, I would have sat out.
At this point, everybody needs immunity except potentially Xander, so...
Well, these little arthritic fingers and it, no, no way. I would have
Yep.
sat out for sure.
So we see Heather and Liana both chose the gray rock, which means that they're going to sit out and they will not take part in the challenge there, and they
won't
could
get
be voted
immunity,
out.
but they won't go home either.
Well, they could. They could be voted out.
voted out, but I mean, they wouldn't go home from losing the other challenge, the do or die. So, okay,
So it leaves us with Erika, Ricard, Danny, Deshawn, and Xander.
and off they go.
First stage, 3 seconds in, Probst tells us Deshawn is out.
Not even 3 seconds. Deshawn, what?
I was hopeful.
Did
I
he
actually
do
had-
that on purpose?
I had
Did
just-
he
no.
want to do that?
No, I don't think so.
I
Just misjudged the challenge.
Man, not even 3 seconds. I was like, oh no, we got to start over, Jeff. I didn't have a hold yet. To be like, nope, you're done.
So
I was
Deshawn
shocked
will
by
be
that.
doing the do or die challenge at
I was
Tribal
thinking-
Council.
And you had him going home, I thought. Yeah, you chose my USB because
Actually, what you said was, "You cheater, you cheated." That's what you yelled.
You cheated. You saw something somewhere. You must have cheated. Voting out my US. Soon as he dropped
That's what it's like
it.
here when we're watching.
Oh, please! Like you would not respond in kind.
I wouldn't have responded in
Yeah,
kind.
foul cheater. You're voting out my mind.
There's
I was
no
just
other way
sure.
you could have known that.
I was sure he was
I,
gone.
I made my picks based on managing my safe points. It
I
had
did
nothing,
too, but-
nothing to do with.
And then I went
This at
back
all.
and changed it. I had 3 theories this week, and not the last minute, but later today, I thought I really thought I convinced myself that Ricard was going to win that challenge. I thought he could win this thing. He could do this.
Well, let's talk about it in the recap here.
Hey, this was about me.
Yes.
All right, but I'll let you move on.
Deshawn, well, thank you. Deshawn out in under 3 seconds, Probst tells us, so they restart. And then that was when I noticed that Ricard was using an underhand grip. Mm-hmm. And Erika almost made it out of the second round, but she dropped with like 3 seconds left.
Yeah,
as he was
she made it almost 10 minutes.
doing the doing the countdown.
Certainly much better than Deshawn.
So Xander, Ricard, and Danny face off. And I noticed Danny had switched to underhand, and Xander and Ricard were overhand. I think Xander stayed overhand the whole way. Were you surprised?
Yeah,
I was.
I was.
I kind of thought Ricard was going to win, too, when I saw him switching his grip up.
That's why I went back and chose Liana to go home. I thought, nope, Ricard's going to win that challenge. Because we'd seen what it was, and we'd gone back and looked at Malcolm's video of how he did, and I thought, no. And anyway, I was totally surprised when Xander and Ricard dropped almost simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And
just within a half second of each other, Probe says. And Danny won individual immunity.
It's like, what?
Awesome.
So, because we'd been having discussions among us, is Danny still not trying to win, or what?
Yeah, something changed that day before when he was working through that thing, I think, with his dad.
But that's what he thought.
I don't think he held back at all this time. So, awesome. Danny gets his first individual immunity win, and Deshawn is on to do or die. And Ricard tells us in his confessional as we're headed to the commercial, I sure hope Deshawn dies because he was going to be voted out. Okay, back at camp, Viakana, day 21, Deshawn tells us that he is content because either he's going to be immune, safe, or he's going to be out of the game, but they will not have voted him out. And he's going to get to make history in the first do or die twist. Okay, I'm not sure I was buying all that, but you got to front a little bit, I guess.
Okay, so Danny's wanting Xander to turn on Ricard. Mm-hmm. But Xander's not having any of that. He wants Liana out, which was making me happy. But okay, Erika.
Just didn't make a lot of sense to me. You had a shot at Ricard. I think Danny was spot on that.
I really
why not
didn't.
remove this threat that's already won 2 individual immunities, and you know he's got a vote for $1 million waiting on him in the jury.
Yeah, I know that Xander was talking about, their final 4 group there, but I wasn't buying any of that. I really thought that Erika and Heather would be with Danny and Deshawn. But then it wasn't looking like that at all. So I was like, whoa, was Xander right?
Xander's worried because he wants Ricard for a shield, but I think he was a bigger threat.
But I like it when Erika starts thinking. And she's like, Liana voted for me. She's not forgetting that for a second.
Yep. And she's sneaky.
And she has no alliances. I want her out, but Ricard is the most dangerous.
This was another great, just that little insight that you're always hoping to get when you're seeing people and how they're working through the logic, how they're trying to decide how to cast their vote, and working through all these things and her struggle.
Well, I totally agree with her that the Ricard's way more dangerous, and that
he could run away with the game from here.
Yeah, he didn't have immunity. I truly think he should have been the one to go home. That would have been the smartest move, I believe.
Cut to sharks in the water, and then Xander and Ricard talking. And Xander's telling Ricard, they're targeting you big time. And Erika is unsure. She's shaky.
But he said, Heather's solid. It's Erika that's not. And so Ricard's a little upset with Erika.
We see Deshawn reassuring Liana again. It's not you. We want Ricard.
I will not vote your name.
And when Liana's back at camp, she says, I'm an easy vote, and I'm scared about tonight.
Yep. And Erika's like, it's important to have people she can trust. Whatever decision she makes, she'll just make it and she'll own it.
Yep, and she's thinking she's the swing vote.
Yep.
Anything else you want to say before we go to Tribal Council?
Are you wishing you'd stayed with her?
I've had that thought a couple times, but,
I have too. I'm thinking,
USB remorse. I don't think I would have had as much. I wouldn't have felt like I'd had as much in it. It would have been just like the path of least resistance to stay with her, whereas I felt like I was taking a bigger risk switching to Shan, and I like that. And I didn't know her game was going to go down the tubes, so I would probably make the same decision Erika didn't seem to have any agency.
Okay, night 21, we're off to Tribal Council.
Shan's got her stink face on.
Yep.
Like a serious stink face. Like a double stink.
Well, it's her first time at Tribal. Why would she try to look happy? She's not happy.
Yeah.
She wants some tall. No, she's not happy.
Okay, so we get the recap of the do or die, but we're going to talk a little bit first. And I was concerned coming into this because I glanced at the time and I thought, that's a lot of time at Tribal Council, so that must mean that Deshawn is safe.
Yeah, I was like, yes,
Convinced,
yes,
and you
there's
were
too
very
much time.
happy.
I was so happy.
We come back in,
and then they start talking,
and then it goes
I was
into
like,
a
oh,
longer
shoot.
discussion. I thought, okay, maybe not so safe. Where's
And
this going? What is it that are we going to have a big live tribal? How's this going to play
I
out?
felt the same thing. Xander tells us there's high risk and high reward this season. Of course, Jeff loves to hear that. And
Yeah, he was pandering to Probst just way over
now,
the top.
here, I did not see that announcement coming. Probst said this is the last night that you can use your shot in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, oh, didn't know that. Did we ever know that when it got down to
Yeah,
so many? We did at some point, right?
yeah, when they introduced it.
Well,
yeah.
I had totally forgotten about it, so
Me too.
it didn't play in, but I
Yeah.
thought it could have at that point. Erika says she has a love-hate relationship with the game. I thought, well, that's realistic.
I didn't think that was pandering. That seemed really solid.
No, I thought
Yeah.
she really meant that.
Probst liked it too. He picked up on it. And Deshawn is struggling, and he's talking about this need to back up his morals and the way he wanted to play versus how things panned out, and how he's passionate and wrestling with all his emotions in this.
He came off as angry, which
Yep.
he didn't want to, and he really wants. I'm not sure who he's talking to the most. If it's Shan,
I didn't know where this was going at first.
the public, or what, but he really wanted it out there. He needed it out there. That, look, Shan wanted me out. You told me that, right, Ricard? Ricard's the one that put her blind side together, not me. She came after me. That's why I went after her. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't break our basically racial bond to go to the end together. I didn't break that. I don't want other people, attacking him when he goes home, I'm assuming, because he broke a bond or something. So,
Well, certainly that element that they've been struggling with because of all the cultural pressure that they said they felt. So, yeah, like you said, he checks in with Ricard, and he says, Shan said to vote me out, and Ricard says yes.
okay, well, he
And
just
that's where
wants
he
his
said
community.
there was the struggle between representing and how
Right.
it really has affected his gameplay, and it made it really hard, and explaining how tough the Shan vote was, given all the extra baggage he said that they had put on themselves in the context of the game, given all the heightened things that were going on just before the game started.
Well, and that the population in general, to try to understand that he came in with certain baggage that not everybody had to bring in, and that he made the best decision he could.
It's
and still honor.
Still wasn't 100% clear, but wow, Liana really laid it out. She did a fantastic job of explaining it when Probst pivoted over to her, and she was talking about how she's always being perceived as the black woman first, and that realization that being black can get you killed in America just because you are black.
Exactly.
And how there's a lot of diversity even in the black culture and the community, that she wanted to make sure that people understood and could see. And Danny chimed in and said, yeah, it's a huge responsibility trying to represent. And right before the game started, Shan said in her interviews that she was watching, just like glued to the TV, watching all the coverage of the George Floyd incident, that they had no resolution on what was going on there, and then to hear Liana lay it out like this.
So all of that was uppermost in their mind.
Yeah, no wonder it was weighing on them so hard. No wonder that was a factor in how they wanted to say, well, let's create an alliance, let's band together, let's have a good moment that everybody can celebrate, and then they can see how we work together as diverse as we are, even within our alliance.
Right.
Yeah, so this is a lot.
I really liked everything they brought out and how they.
She did a fantastic job explaining it, and I would have thought it would have come from Danny or Deshawn, but she had such a solid grasp on it and was so good at explaining it and laying it out there. And when you stop and think about those things, like you could see Xander's process, it's similar to what we had been talking about and the realizations we had made, that idea of driving while black, and how having that fear that you could be killed, pulled over and then killed under that kind of circumstance. And he talked about it, that it's a privilege that we have, that we didn't have that kind of thing weighing on us at all, didn't understand it, didn't grasp it. And then you've got all these awful incidents, the George Floyd, the Breonna Taylor, the Ahmaud Arbery, all these things just weighing down on them. I would be more I'm angry that they have to endure all those things. It just makes me, my first response is anger, and almost just a rage that they're having to deal with all those things. But they're dealing with it in such a much more graceful way.
I don't think we are even capable.
No, we don't
of
understand
fully grasping.
Yeah, there's not an equivalency in anything like that.
I agree.
Xander was good to point that out too.
Yeah, I don't represent a people. I don't carry that around with me as a responsibility, and I think it's good to recognize that, yes, that's an advantage that you have.
Yep.
And you didn't have to earn it. You just had it. So, okay.
Danny said that he wants alliances like that, people who can understand and learn, and like Heather was saying, that are growing and learning. And she talks about how she didn't understand it either. Just, they're both examples of how so many of us don't get it.
No, we don't. But it's nice that there are people who do understand and who do know, that are willing to share that, so that we have even a small comprehension to go off of.
Maybe help in some way, find some way to help.
I think Danny brought it back around with, he had no doubt that the people in their group, meaning this season, would support any cause that they had. And I thought, that's awesome.
Liana was so good. She even took another viewpoint and said, look, I know a lot of people are going to say, I just want to watch Survivor.
Yes.
So she's coming at this from so many different directions.
They don't want to see this on the TV. They don't want it to interfere with Survivor. And I thought, that's exactly right. There's going to be those like, I don't want to hear this on my TV.
Well, because it hurts. It's painful, and you don't want people to have to go through what all the black people and the other oppressed minorities go through on a day-to-day basis.
That's right. And even though I have not enjoyed Liana's gameplay, she did gain a lot of personal respect for the way she handled tribal council.
We can tell she's been thinking about this and got a much more mature grasp on it than I do. Yeah. Yeah, and then Probst is right. It's the thing they've been saying from the beginning. You get a group of people and you force them to live together, and they've got to figure these things out and work these things out. And it is a microcosm and a reflection. And
that's originally what they always said about Survivor, and why they started it. It's
not always comfortable to watch, but sometimes it
isn't.
Sometimes there's just ugly things that happen, and there's been plenty of that in the past.
If there's growth that comes from it,
but sometimes you do get to see things
be beautiful.
Yeah, from a different angle, and it causes you to have a broader understanding of the world and the people around you, and hopefully helps you find the love quicker, because love's what you need, not any of all the awful things.
Okay, now to go back into Survivor.
Deshawn said, "No, Jeff, don't do it. Let's keep talking."
Yeah, let's just keep talking. Yeah.
He was okay
Let's
not doing the do or die challenge.
Do or die.
Okay, so
And I was thinking, oh, that they talked so long.
Enough.
That was good.
Yeah.
But my Deshawn is going on.
Yeah. So Probst brings out 3 boxes. He tells us one's got fire in it. Fire represents life, and then the other 2 have
That was a
skulls,
nice
and
little
that's
twist.
death in the game. So
Okay.
I loved how this played out. So Deshawn, he's got a strong pull towards the box that's on his left, and so that's the one he chooses. So Probst does the Monty Hall thing, the classic twist,
Okay.
which is, and
Just
requires
to
me to explain it.
If you
I'll
want
show
to
you
switch.
one.
Yeah.
Here's what's behind this door, or here's what's in this box, and it turns out it's a skull. Now you've got an opportunity. You can choose the other one I have here, or you can hold on to the one that you chose initially.
I hate it when they do that. I always hated it when they did that. It's like, no. But Deshawn said
Holds
no,
fast.
No.
Yes.
I was drawn to this one. I'm staying with it. And thank goodness he did. He saved the day for
Fire,
me.
and he's safe. And I lose a vote out
Ooh,
point
There's a flame.
and a save point.
Yes, well, I'm okay with that. But I didn't lose my USB.
Yeah.
One of us was losing points.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, honey, but I'm glad it was you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and as Jeff says, it's time to vote.
No advantages played, no idols played.
We're
I don't
not
know why
talking about it.
why Xander was looking so intently at
Go
Ricard. But yeah, Xander, the only one who had anything.
Okay, so who
didn't
did
play
you
anything.
think was going at this point?
Well, I was still hopeful that it was Ricard. I thought that made the most sense.
Well, I did too, but I had switched off Ricard, so the only reason I was hoping it was Liana was to
That was
get
your
a
vote out
point,
pick.
but,
Yeah, you were hoping to maximize your
I
points.
thought it would be Ricard because I thought that would be the smartest move.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like once the votes came out and we saw that Xander used his extra vote on Liana, so he voted twice. Ricard voted for her, and Heather and Erika went along.
Right.
And I thought Xander must have convinced Erika by saying, I'm gonna play the extra vote. So, either jump on board or we're going to a revote.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she just decided to go along, and I hope they can get Ricard next time, but I don't think Xander wants to. That's not his goal.
Right. Right. He said he liked having Ricard as a shield.
Yep. Danny, Deshawn, and Liana voted Ricard, and Liana goes home. She says she has no regrets. She played as hard as she could, and she's ready to eat.
And instead of saying love you on her way out, she said, I really like playing with all of you.
Yep. Well, usually it's the person that voted them out that says love you.
Mm-hmm.
Shan said it to those she voted out.
Yep.
Ricard said it to Shan as he voted her out. But
So what'd you think about this episode?
I thought it was great. It was. It manipulated my emotions up and down and around and back and forth, just all over the place. And I was tired afterwards. It's such an emotional.
I didn't know they were going to get to that explanation that was coming. So that was interesting. And then to have it play out and to have it, just, Liana, like I said, just did such a fantastic job, I thought, laying it out. And so that you could see the significance, the weight of what was causing Deshawn to be so emotional as he struggled with wanting to have that good moment culturally that they had talked about versus, hey, this person's coming for me. I need to do something to get rid of that threat, otherwise I'm gone. Mm-hmm. And then feeling like he was being made to be the villain for that when she called him, well, she just really got to him with the snake comment. It weighed on him. He was wrestling with it when he got back. He was wrestling with it the next day, and had come to a whole different determination by the time he got to tribal council.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it gave some great insight into that whole cultural alliance thing that they were.
Now everybody's going to
coming
want Xander to go to Ponderosa because people are looking to see if that romance will pan out.
Oh, you're talking about, yeah, they released another video today that says Xander has a crush. And so when he
Yep.
was talking to Shan, he said, well, yeah, I'm sure Liana would be
Well,
surprised to
Shan
know
called it.
my true feelings.
She called the crush.
Yeah.
She said, "This is what I do. I deal with these
As a
young
youth
people."
pastor, yes.
You know,
I see this all the time.
she
This
she even
bickering.
said it, which surprised me. She said, "I think they might have the hots for each other." And so, sure enough, she started saying, "Well, and not that I'm saying, but you two would make a cute couple." And Xander just said, "Well, if
Flowed
she
right
knew
along with that,
how
yeah.
I really felt
Yeah.
about her, I'm very attracted to her." And Shan and Ricard are like laughing. She's like, "I told you." And then she goes and tells Liana.
Right.
And Liana's all like, "No, no."
Well, she didn't.
But then you could tell
There
she
wasn't
was
an-
flattered.
I don't
No,
know. I
she
thought
was flattered.
I thought she was taking the other
You're wrong.
end of that. Okay. Could be.
She was also
I'm not the best
flattered.
read of those things.
No, she's not. So she was flattered.
She seemed to me like she was making out that she did not
She's like,
share
"Oh no,
the
I don't
same-
feel that way. No.
Yeah.
But you could tell by the way she was talking
Okay.
that she was flattered that he. So that put a whole different spin on the way they first chose to show that video, because it upset me in the first part of it where they just showed a clip of it.
Where she was manhandling
Where she
him.
was just like all over him, trying
spooning.
to, just trying to, I don't know, dog him to like get the idol. If he found it, she got to shove him out of the way and all of that. So that I didn't like. But then it turned into, then they came back and showed the rest of the video the way it really played out, and it was like, oh, okay. Well, that kind of puts a little bit of different spin, but she didn't seem to know that he was attracted to her at that point. But anyway, that was
We
it.
kind of
Was
went off on
a cute little
a
video.
tangent there, but yeah, it
Okay.
was a good episode, and definitely, I'm sure it's one that a lot of people are going to be talking about. What about next time on Survivor?
Danny says he and Deshawn are on the bottom, and he's looking for an idol.
And they
Now-
flash on an idol.
Yes, they didn't. I said, "Did Danny see it?" And it's like they didn't show us that.
No,
They just
they're
showed
not
us
trying to do
there-
spoilers.
There is one out there, so we now know.
His instincts are right.
Yes, they did hide another one.
Yeah. Cut back to Ricard, and Ricard saying there's something about his vibe that shifted, and then you see Danny smiling.
Yeah, and it really scares Ricard.
Mm-hmm.
He is very good. He's very observant with that kind of thing. Very aware, and that's what makes him a good player.
Yeah, so you think the hearing impairment and the way it's jacked up his observational
I hadn't
skills.
thought about that, but it probably does or has heightened all his other skills. I'm certain.
I think that's essentially what he was saying when
Well,
he was
yeah.
explaining it. But yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, I hadn't thought about it in this moment, but yeah, he definitely is really good at that. And Erika to Deshawn, "We want to keep you." And then she says she has new plans that she put on the table, which doesn't tell us anything. Deshawn to Xander, he seemed to be implying, he said, "You and Erika would be a good final three." And we thought,
Must
did he
include
say
him.
me, you, and Erika?
Yeah.
Did he say me, you, and
I don't know,
Erika?
the audio for these seemed
he didn't
chopped to like
say
they could have
that.
been taking the audio from other actual portions or something. So many of these didn't seem to be completely,
Yeah, like they were spliced.
yeah.
And so I wasn't trusting exactly what I thought I was hearing. So,
Deshawn tells us we'll see who comes out on top.
and all he can do is fight. He does shake hands with Xander, but that really doesn't tell me anything either.
No.
So, again, we'll start our week of guessing
Yeah.
who goes next.
Yep.
I keep thinking, don't they have to get rid of Ricard? Come on. If you get the opportunity, you should jump
They just
on it.
had it and they didn't.
I know, but
a little dumbfounding.
I had thought they would. Here's what I was thinking in my head. Here's what they need to do. Danny and Deshawn, Erika and Heather and Ricard vote together. They split the vote. 3 for Xander, 2 for Liana.
Flush Xander's idol, yeah.
Yeah, and then try to flush the idol. If Xander plays it, he doesn't go home. And if he does play it, then either Liana goes home or it's tied, depending on
Okay.
who Liana and Xander voted
Why
for.
are we rehashing your theory that didn't pan out?
Because that's what I was thinking should happen.
Okay.
Is that in order to get to Ricard, you got to get Xander's idol and stuff out of the way.
I don't know about that. I think they could have accomplished getting rid of Ricard quite easily.
Well, then they could have, but they didn't, did they?
No,
And Xander's the one that
messed that up.
stepped up.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying you need to take Xander's power away if you want to get to.
I don't think this was a win for Xander. It won't be perceived that way.
I don't think so either. And I am not convinced that Erika and Heather will continue to stay with them. I'm not convinced of that. So
Yeah, I don't know what her plan is, but
no, but I like it that she's staying open to whatever, and so is Ricard. Ricard's staying open. He's not slamming any doors.
yeah, well, you got to continue to have conversations with everyone.
Absolutely.
But she doesn't appear to really have a plan either.
Well,
She just sort of
that we
flip
know
flopping
of
around.
yet. That we know of yet.
Yeah. So you think Danny's going to end up with an immunity idol?
I hope he does, but I don't know that it'll be Danny. It could be.
We don't even know if
it
it's
could
an
be
immunity
Xander. No,
idol.
we
It
don't.
could just be an advantage.
That's
Yeah.
right. We don't know what it is. We know what they wanted us
What
to think.
Danny wanted
There's
it to be.
something hidden.
Yep.
That's what we know. There's something hidden.
Yep. Okay, how about a JSFL update?
I can do that. Okay, Jean N and Tommy are in first place with 50 points this week, so
Wow,
they're tied.
already to 50.
9 USBs were lost this week. There were 74 people who earned a vote-off point. Congratulations. And 109 people lost a safe point. For the side challenge, Rebecca's still in first with 47 points. Jeremiah with 46. With 45, we got Colt, Mike, and Michael. 44, Jay Kindred. With 43, Parker. With 42, Randy and Stacy. With 40, Justin. And 37, Drew.
All right. Yeah, it took a big hit. It was only 3 points again. Goodness.
Yeah, that's what, 2 weeks in a row?
Mm-hmm. But on the plus side, I've got enough safes for the next two, so
I do too now.
I'm fine. Yeah, you really jackpotted.
I did. That this week I made a lot of the choices I made by I thought I got to get this right or my safe point I'm not going to.
I'll just be
You
bleeding
can only
points from
use
here
any
on.
one person 6 times.
Yeah.
For those of you who have forgotten. So I was looking and going, oh my goodness, I'd already used Heather and Erika 4 times each. So this week, if I'd have had them safe, would have been 5. And there's 2 more weeks you got to have safes. So,
Yep.
okay. Anyway, that was my little inner drama as well.
Yep. Okay, so this is the end of our recap, part 1 of the 2 parts we do for every episode. On Saturday, we'll do part 2. That's the listener feedback show. That's where we hand the reins over to the other Survivor Super fans to get your thoughts and predictions, how things are going to pan out. What did you see? What did you learn? Maybe there's something from your particular walk in life, your lens on life that you can add to the discussion. We look forward to hearing from you, and we hope you join us. We've been having fantastic listener feedback shows this season. You can call and leave a voicemail at 206-350-1547, toll-free 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio. That's the way to get the best quality, and attach it, or you can type it up and we'll read it into the show for you. Send it to the email address joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays. Please keep your feedback in that 3-minute range so that we can get everybody in.
All right.
Anything else?
I don't believe so. I'm just looking forward to hearing what everyone else thought about this awesome episode.
Have a good one.